Have you ever felt like your kindness is mistaken for weakness? Like people dismiss your words, overlook your presence, or take advantage of your good nature? In a world that often rewards dominance over virtue, respect isn't given, it's earned. And the Stoics knew this well. True respect comes not from demanding it, but from embodying strength, wisdom, and self-mastery. In this video, we'll uncover 7 powerful habits rooted in Stoic philosophy that will make people see you differently. No longer as a pushover, but as someone to be reckoned with. Stay with me, because habit number 7 might just change the way you carry yourself forever. 1. Set clear boundaries. Ever heard this before? Being too nice can ruin your life. Yes, I said it. And before you rush to disagree, hear me out. The Stoics taught that we are not obligated to please everyone, only to act with wisdom and self-respect. Setting boundaries isn't about being rude or unkind. It's about valuing yourself enough to say no when necessary. I learned this the hard way. For years, my default response to any request was, "Sure, I can do that." It didn't matter if I was exhausted, overwhelmed, or simply unwilling. I became the go-to person for favors. And guess what? I wasn't respected for it. I was drained, frustrated, and worst of all, resentful. Nothing screams pushover louder than someone who constantly says yes while secretly screaming no. But then I made a change. I started saying no. At first, it felt uncomfortable, like I was breaking some unwritten rule. The guilt was real, but then something powerful happened. The people who truly valued me said, "I understand," and the ones who didn't, they vanished. And honestly, good riddance. Here's the truth. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about teaching people how to treat you. When you set limits, you're saying, "I respect my time, my energy, and myself." And that is powerful. If you keep saying yes to everyone else, ask yourself, who's saying yes to me? Don't wait until burnout forces you to draw the line. Do it now. Because the right people, the ones who genuinely respect you, will honor your boundaries. And those who don't, they were never truly in your corner to begin with. 2. Follow through on promises. Let's be honest, few things destroy respect faster than breaking promises. And not just the respect of others, but your own self-respect. That may sound harsh, but think about it. Every time you say, "Yeah, I'll do that," and then don't, you're chipping away at your reputation. It's like being that one friend who's always late. Not the worst thing in the world, but over time, people stop relying on you. Here's what most people don't realize. When you fail to follow through, you're not just letting someone else down. You're lying. Maybe it's your boss, a friend, or a family member. But more often than not, the person you're deceiving is yourself. And that stings the most. I learned this lesson the hard way. A few years ago, a coworker asked me to review a project. "Just send it over," I said. In the moment, it felt easy. But then life happened. I got buried under my own workload, forgot about it, and eventually, they moved on without my input. They didn't even complain. They just stopped asking me for help altogether. And you know what? I deserved it. That was my wake-up call. Because here's the truth. When you don't follow through, people stop believing in you. Simple as that. But it runs even deeper. When you constantly break promises, even the ones you make to yourself, like "I'll start working out on Monday," or "This is the year I'll save money," you train yourself to expect failure. You reinforce the belief that your word doesn't mean much. And if you don't trust yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? The promises you break don't just affect your relationships. They shape your identity. If you repeatedly say, "Yeah, I'll do that," and then fail to deliver, you start seeing yourself as unreliable. That becomes your story. "I'm just bad at follow-through." But here's the good news. You can rewrite that story anytime you choose. Now, I'm not saying you have to be perfect. Life happens. Things come up. But if you make a promise, treat it like a contract with yourself. Write it down. Set a reminder. Tattoo it on your arm if you have to. Just don't overcommit to things you know you can't do. That's not noble. It's reckless. I used to be the sure, "I'll do it" person. I agreed to every favor, every last-minute request, just to keep the peace, to seem helpful. But then I realized something. Every time I said yes to something I didn't have the capacity to do, I was saying no to my own priorities. And that is the fastest way to burn out and build resentment. So now, if I can't do something, I say so. Plain and simple. And let me tell you, the world doesn't end when you say no. In fact, people respect you more when they know your word actually means something. Because when you follow through, you don't just build trust, you build credibility. People start to see you as someone who values their word. And more importantly, you start to value your word. That builds confidence, self-respect. And over time, it transforms how others see you. So here's my challenge to you. Stop overcommitting. Be intentional with your promises. And when you do say yes, treat it like a sacred vow. Because every promise you keep makes you more of the person you want to be. Your word is your power. Don't waste it. 3. Be a good listener. Let's be honest, most people think they're good listeners, but they're not. In reality, they're just waiting for their turn to talk. And here's the kicker. If you're that person, people notice. They might not call you out on it, but deep down, they're thinking, "Why do I even bother?" Look, I'm not here to judge. I've been that person, nodding along while my mind wandered elsewhere. What am I having for dinner tonight? Did I lock the door? Oh shoot, I forgot to text Sarah back. It's easy to seem like you're listening when in reality you're just not. But here's the problem. People feel it. They know when your attention is divided, when you're not truly present. And whether you realize it or not, you're sending a clear message. What you're saying isn't important to me. That stings. And that kind of energy builds walls between you and the people around you. Friends, co-workers, partners, everyone. If people don't feel heard, they won't respect you. Period. I learned this lesson the hard way. A close friend once called me during a tough time, and while she vented, I was multitasking, checking emails, folding laundry, half listening. I thought I was being productive, but she could tell. And then, mid-sentence, she just stopped and said, "You know what? Never mind." That hit me like a brick. I wasn't just being rude. I was making someone I cared about feel invisible. That was a wake-up call I'll never forget. From that moment on, I made a decision. No more half listening. I started putting my phone away during conversations, looking people in the eye, and truly engaging. And you know what happened? People opened up more. They trusted me more. And most importantly, they respected me more. Now, let's clear something up. Being a good listener isn't about sitting there and nodding like a bobblehead. It's about engagement. Ask follow-up questions. Reflect on what's being said. And here's a wild idea. Don't always jump in with your own story. Not every conversation needs to be a competition for who has the crazier life experience. Sometimes, people just want to be heard. Listening is hard because it requires you to step outside of yourself. You have to pause your own thoughts, let go of your own agenda, and be fully present. But that's the secret to earning real respect. Because here's the truth. People won't always remember what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And it's not just about them, it's about you too. When you listen, you learn, you gain new perspectives, you understand people on a deeper level, and that builds empathy. And guess what? Empathy is a superpower. It separates great leaders from average ones, turns acquaintances into true friends, and transforms just another co-worker into someone people want to work with. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you're in a conversation, don't just hear, listen. Put away the distractions, ask meaningful questions, make people feel like they matter. Because when you do, the respect you'll earn in return is priceless. At the end of the day, being a good listener isn't just a nice skill to have. It's the foundation of strong relationships, deep trust, and lasting respect. 4. Take responsibility. Let's get one thing straight. Blaming others and making excuses doesn't make you look smart. It makes you look weak. You can't earn respect while dodging accountability. In fact, owning up to your mistakes is one of the strongest things you can do. We've all had those moments. You spill coffee all over an important report and immediately think, well, if they hadn't put the cup so close to the edge. Or you miss a deadline and mutter, well, no one reminded me. But here's the harsh truth. Every time you deflect responsibility, you're putting up a giant neon sign that says, I can't handle the pressure. And trust me, that's not the message you want to send. I used to be a professional excuse maker. I thought that if I could explain why something wasn't my fault, people would go easy on me. But you know what actually happened? People started seeing me as unreliable, someone who could explain a mistake but never own it. And that realization hit hard. I wasn't just losing their respect, I was losing my own. So one day, I made a decision. No more excuses, no more finger pointing. And let me tell you, admitting my mistakes for the first time felt like swallowing a cactus. But something unexpected happened. Instead of tearing me down, people respected me more. Because I was honest, because I took ownership. Here's the truth. Taking responsibility doesn't make you look weak. It makes you look strong. It shows integrity, maturity, and the ability to learn from mistakes. And in a world where everyone is obsessed with saving face, being someone who owns up is a rare and powerful thing. Now let's be clear. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything. You don't need to apologize for the weather or for someone else's bad attitude. But when something is your fault, whether it's a missed deadline, a poor decision, or just a simple mistake, you own it. No excuses, no drama, just a simple, that's on me. Here's how I'll fix it. Trust me, people will remember how you handled the mistake more than the mistake itself. I'll never forget a time when I was leading a group project and I completely mismanaged the timeline. We ended up rushing last minute and the final product was not great. At first, I wanted to blame my team. If so-and-so had worked faster, we'd be fine. But deep down, I knew the truth. I was the one who dropped the ball. So instead of deflecting, I faced it head-on. I told my team, this one's on me. I'll do better next time. And guess what? Instead of being upset, they actually thanked me for being honest. That moment taught me something crucial. Taking responsibility isn't just about fixing mistakes. It's about proving who you are. Someone who doesn't run from consequences, someone who learns, adapts, and grows. That's the kind of person people respect. So here's your challenge. Next time you mess up, and let's be real, we all do, try something different. Instead of blaming circumstances or other people, own it. Say, "Yep, that was my fault," and then focus on making it right. You'd be surprised how much respect that earns you, not just from others, but from yourself. Because at the end of the day, respect isn't about being perfect. It's about how you handle your imperfections. 5. Stand up for yourself. Let's talk about something that makes a lot of people uncomfortable: standing up for yourself. Here's the hard truth. If you don't, people will walk all over you. And the worst part? It won't even be their fault. It'll be yours. Respect is a two-way street. If you don't set boundaries, if you don't make it clear how you expect to be treated, don't be surprised when people take advantage of you. And I get it. Confrontation is awkward. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's downright terrifying. I used to avoid it like it was my full-time job. Someone would criticize me unfairly, and I'd just laugh it off like it was no big deal. Meanwhile, inside, I was boiling. But here's the thing. When you allow people to treat you poorly, you're teaching them that it's okay. That's the uncomfortable truth. You can't control how others act, but you can control what you tolerate. If you don't draw a line, people will assume there is no line. And that's on you. I learned this the hard way. Back in college, I was in a group project where one guy constantly dumped his work on me. At first, I just handled it. I didn't want to cause drama. But after my third late night of doing his share of the work, I snapped. I finally told him, "This isn't fair, and I'm not doing your part anymore." And you know what? He actually apologized and started pulling his weight. The real kicker. I realized I was angrier at myself for not speaking up sooner than I ever was at him. Now, let's be clear. Standing up for yourself doesn't mean being aggressive, yelling, or making a scene. You don't have to fight to be respected. Sometimes it's as simple as saying, "I don't appreciate that," or "Actually, I can't take this on right now." It's about setting the tone for how people treat you, firm but respectful. And here's your warning. When you start standing up for yourself, not everyone will like it. Some people will get defensive. Some might even call you difficult. And that's fine, because the people who truly respect you will understand, and the ones who don't. They were never on your side to begin with. The deeper truth is this. Standing up for yourself isn't just about earning respect from others. It's about respecting yourself. Every time you let someone cross your boundaries without saying a word, you're sending a message to yourself that you don't matter enough to fight for. Over time, that erodes your confidence, your self-worth, and your inner strength. But when you do stand up, when you say, "This is where I draw the line," you remind yourself that you are worth it. And that is powerful. So here's my challenge. The next time someone crosses the line, whether it's a rude comment, an unfair demand, or just plain disrespect, don't let it slide. Speak up. You don't have to be rude, you just have to be firm. Because at the end of the day, people respect those who respect themselves. Remember this, standing up for yourself doesn't make you difficult. It makes you dignified. And dignity? That's the foundation of real respect. 6. Be consistent. Let's be honest, most of us struggle with consistency. We love starting things, making bold plans, and hyping ourselves up. But sticking to them? That's where the real challenge begins. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Inconsistency is one of the fastest ways to lose respect. Why? Because people don't trust someone they can't rely on. If your actions are unpredictable, if you constantly start things but never follow through, people stop taking you seriously. How many times have you started a new habit, a workout routine or a project, only to quit after 2 weeks? And of course, there's always an excuse. I got busy. The timing wasn't right. But the truth is, no one respects someone who is all talk and no action. I learned this the hard way. Once I told my friends I was launching a blog. I built it up, made big promises and got everyone excited. And then, after 3 posts, I quit. The worst part? People noticed. They'd joke, "Hey, how's that blog going?" It was embarrassing, but it also taught me something. I had lost credibility because I wasn't consistent. Here's the thing. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's not exciting. It's showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's doing the work when no one is watching. And that's exactly why it's so rare and so powerful. Because when you're consistent, people know they can count on you. And that pursues trust, which is the foundation of respect. I once worked with 2 people. One was talented but unreliable. Some weeks they were a superstar, but other times they missed deadlines and disappeared. The other wasn't flashy, but they always delivered. Guess who got promoted? The one who was consistent every single time. But this isn't just about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. Every time you break a promise to yourself, whether it's skipping a workout or giving up on a goal, you chip away at your own confidence. But when you stick to your commitments, even in small ways, you're telling yourself, I can rely on me. And that builds self-respect, which is just as important as earning it from others. Now, I'm not saying you have to be perfect. Life happens. But here's the secret. It's not about never slipping up. It's about showing up more often than not. Because over time, those small, consistent efforts lead to big results. And those results make people respect you, not because you're the smartest or most talented, but because you kept going when others didn't. So here's my challenge. Pick one thing, just one, and commit to it for the next month. Show up even when you don't feel like it. Prove to yourself and others that you can be counted on. Because at the end of the day, respect isn't earned through big gestures or flashy moments. It's earned by showing up, doing the work, and being someone people can count on. And that is consistency. 7. Stop seeking approval. Let's be real. If you spend your life chasing approval, you'll never be truly respected. Why? Because people don't respect those who need validation. They respect those who know their worth, with or without the applause. I know this because I've been there. I used to shape my actions around what others wanted, agreeing just to fit in, overextending myself to be liked. And what did I get? Burnout, frustration, and the realization that people weren't respecting me. They were just enjoying the benefits of my people-pleasing. Here's the hard truth. The more you seek approval, the more control you give away. Some people will sense that and use it against you. They'll push your boundaries because they know you'll bend just to feel accepted. And that cycle? It only ends when you decide to break it. I remember being in a group where I said yes to everything, helping with projects, rearranging my plans for theirs. I thought I was winning them over, but in reality, I was just making myself invisible. One day I realized they didn't respect me, they valued what I did for them. And that was on me. I had taught them that my time and energy were negotiable. Being liked and being respected are not the same thing. You can twist yourself into a pretzel to fit others' expectations, but all that does is make you smaller. Respect doesn't come from being agreeable. It comes from standing firm in who you are. And let's be honest, Constantly seeking approval means you're not giving yourself the validation you need. If you always need someone to tell you you're good enough, deep down, you don't believe it yourself. But here's the good news. You don't need anyone's permission to see your own worth. The moment you stop needing approval is the moment you earn real respect. Because when you respect yourself, the right people will follow. So, here's your challenge. Before making a decision, ask yourself, am I doing this for me or for approval? If it's the latter, step back. Because at the end of the day, the only approval you truly need is your own. Respect isn't about perfection, being the loudest in the room, or constantly proving yourself. It's about showing up authentically, setting firm boundaries, and living in alignment with your values. Because when you respect yourself first, the world has to follow. I know some of these habits might have challenged you, or even made you a little uncomfortable. But growth isn't supposed to be easy. It's about small, consistent actions that lead to big transformations. So, which habit resonated with you the most? Which one feels like the biggest challenge? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if this video gave you value, let's keep this journey going. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. And hey, share this with someone who needs a reminder to stand tall and own their power. At the end of the day, respect starts with you. So go out there, own your choices, and live unapologetically. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay strong, stay true, and keep rising.